So when situations happen in our lives, right? Or we find ourselves in certain unfavorable circumstances, our natural response is to become angry, to become anxious, to become fearful, right? And in doing so, we inflict a lot of suffering on ourselves. You know, you could essentially say that we're resisting whatever it is that we're experiencing in the moment, right? And it's not until you surrender that not only your circumstance changes, right? Not only your outside circumstance changes, but your internal being and your internal world changes as well. When we talk about surrender, a lot of people perceive surrender, as you saying you're giving up on life, or you're throwing in the towel, or you're not gonna do anything to change the situation, right? And so we perceive surrender to be a weakness, when in actuality, true surrender, right? True surrender is a strength. And so here's the thing. Life will never not have problems. I've lived in this world for 23 years, and for most of my life, I've realized that no matter how good life is, no matter how much money you're making, no matter how good of a relationship that you have, or the fact that you have good family and good friends around you, even when all those things and all those criteria are met, life is always gonna throw you a curveball. Life is always gonna pop up, and a problem out of nowhere is just gonna come up, right? And so a lot of us fail to come to the realization that as long as we're living in this world and we're alive and we're breathing, we are always gonna be faced with problems, right? And so true surrender, right? True surrender is simply the acceptance of whatever it is that life has to give to you. True surrender is you looking at life and understanding that no matter where you are in your life, no matter what it is that you have, you will always be faced with problems, right? True surrender is acceptance. Acceptance for what is, and acceptance for life. The Buddha has this quote where he says, when you find yourself in a situation, you only have three responses, right? You can either change it, you can leave it, or you can accept it. And out of those three, right, I believe the most important one out of those three is acceptance, is to accept it, right? Accepting the situation for what it is. Now, let's say a situation comes up in your life, right? And you're changing, or you're doing your best to solve the problem or change the situation, right? If you're trying to change it from a sense of not accepting it, or a sense of resistance, you can change the situation on the outside, right? So you can do your best to fix the situation. But if you haven't accepted it, then even though you're changing the outside, even though you're changing the problem itself, you're also creating a new problem within yourself, right? A lot of people, a lot of times, situations might happen in their lives, and they're doing their best to change it. And they're changing it out of anger, out of resentment, out of fear. And so you're essentially covering up, or you're trying to fix a broken bone with a band-aid. And you might change the problem itself, but you're creating a bigger problem within you, right? You're creating more resistance within you. You're suffering on the inside, even though your outside world is changing. And in my opinion, your inside world and how you feel on the inside, and the sense of freedom and presence that you feel on the inside, is way more important than anything on your outside, right? I always reference this quote by Anthony DeMello where he says, a man can be in prison and be free. And a man cannot be in prison and be in prison. And if you probably watched some of my previous videos, I tend to reference that quote quite a bit. And I think in some sense it alludes to the freedom that you get from acceptance. The freedom that you feel from accepting whatever circumstance that you find yourself in. Because once you accept something for what it is, then it can no longer trigger you. Once you accept something for what it is, it doesn't have the same impact that it once had on you internally. It no longer affects you to that extent in which it did, right? And the perfect example I can give in terms of this is, right, think about the rain. Let's say the rain is falling outside and you have somewhere to be, right? And so you go out the door and you see the rain falling. Now, a crazy person will look at the rain and be angry that the rain is falling, be upset, and in a sense, they will generate this internal resistance and find themselves in a negative state of mind. And so a smart person, on the other hand, they will probably go outside and see that the rain is falling, and they'll do one or two things, right? They'll either get an umbrella or they stay inside. So the person that is operating from a higher consciousness, right, will accept that the rain is falling, and then they will act in order to solve the situation, right? So if you think about it, acceptance gives you clarity of mind. Once you accept something for what it is, not only do you create peace within yourself, right, but you also have a level mind and a calm heart. And once you're operating from a level mind and a calm heart, then you can be able to make the correct decision and make the right decision in the moment. But a person that finds themselves not accepting a situation for what it is and resisting that situation, they're always going to make an irrational decision. They're going to make a decision based on their emotional state. And most of the times, the large majority of the times, no good decision can be made from a negative mindset and from emotions, right? You have to be calm. And so acceptance in itself is a power. It's true power. Surrendering to the moment, accepting what life has and what life is giving you in this moment is power. It's power not only to change your outside situation, but it's also power in the sense that you don't allow those outside circumstances to have power, on your inside and on your presence and your being within you. It gives you a sense of calmness. Another thing that I want to say, right, in terms of the power that surrender has, when you're in a state of non-acceptance, right, or you can't accept something for what it is, or you can't accept life for what it is, you're creating a barrier between you and between higher consciousness or God, or whatever it is that you want to call it, source, creator, whatever it is that you want to call it. When you're not in a state of acceptance, when you're not in a state of surrender, you are creating a separation between you and between higher consciousness, right? And so once you're separating from higher consciousness, by you separating your own self, nothing fruitful can come in your life, right? I remember when I used to go to church back in the day, and I'm no longer Christian, but I believe that there are truths in every single religion. And so back in the day, my pastor would have this thing where she would say, surrender your burdens to the Lord, or surrender your burdens to Jesus. And in a sense, if you want to take it outside Christianity itself, essentially what that statement is saying is that you have to surrender to life. If you don't want to use God, surrender to life. Surrender to life and what life has to give to you. Because whatever it is that you're getting from life in the moment, you are meant to get. It's for your better good, right? Even the negative situations that you find yourself in, is for your higher good, right? Life is giving you what you need in that moment. So when you're surrendering, right, you're going with the flow of life, and you're staying connected to the source, and you're staying connected to life, and you're allowing life to take you where you need to be, right? Resistance creates separation, and surrender creates a strong connection, or it reconnects you to life, right? And so there is really great power in surrender. A lot of us are so used to allowing life to just take a toll on us, fighting against life, resisting life. And this doesn't mean you don't make a change, or you don't try to better your life, or you don't try to change the circumstance that you find yourself in. But before you try to change the circumstance, accept it. Look at your life. Look at what the situation is, life is giving you in that moment, or what the situation is teaching you, and accept it. Accept it for what it is, and then you can make a change. Because once you accept it for what it is, you're operating from a clearer mind and a calmer heart. And a clearer mind and a calmer heart, like I said, you're able to make a more rational and the right decision for the moment. And not only that, when you surrender, you're connecting to your higher self and to source. And that's when your blessings begin to flow, because you're no longer separating from life. You're reconnecting to it. So I'll say all this to say, whatever life is giving you in this moment is exactly what you need to get, right? And your life will not change until you surrender. And not only will your life will not change, but your inner state of being, you will never truly find peace. Peace is found in surrendering. Surrendering to life, surrendering to whatever it is that life is giving you in the moment, and coming from the understanding that whatever it is that you're getting is what you should be experiencing, and you're experiencing that for your higher good. And so you're not going against the flow of life, you're going with the flow of life, and you're allowing life to take you where you need to be. And here's the thing, where life takes you, right, once you surrender to the flow of your life, life will always take you exactly where you need to be. And your blessings and whatever it is that you get from life will always be greater than anything that you can possibly imagine or conceive in your mind. Always, right? And so go with the flow of life. Don't create more resistance. Don't allow your inner state to be in chaos. Accept life for what it is. Surrender to life. Believe that something higher than you is taking you in the right direction. And trust me, it will take you exactly where you need to be. So I thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you for even clicking this video. And I hope you got something from this video. And I hope you surrender and accept life for what it is. Because only then will your life change. Peace and blessings.